job done by the Super Kings. Not only a playoff spot, but a top 2 spot looks pretty much theirs. But we have to focus on Lucknow v KKR because that's the game that will decide it eventually. And Rinku Singh is back in action at his home ground. Russell is due. Nitish Rana has won a toss and KKR will bowl first. We build up to that game. We'll also look back at Delhi CSK on Visit Saudi presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Time. Gee, when I talk about KKR, Rinku Singh is the only thing that comes to mind first. I don't know why I started with that.
It's the same with me.
Yeah,
as well.
It's been that kind of season, hasn't it?
And it's changed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Before Russell, you're talking about Rinku Singh.
First person I mentioned on the show is Rinku Singh. See, this is how we give away some of our emotions of what's happened this season. It's been all about Rinku and KKR, but can they get the job done? We'll go to the exact margin. I believe it's a total of about 80 or so. That's the difference. So now that CSK have won big here at Delhi, 70 plus runs, I'll just confirm that they need another 60, 70 odd win to Lucknow now that they're batting first. But let's focus on this game. Lucknow Super Giants will be very happy, Tom, after beating Mumbai Indians in what was one of those crunch, high stakes, feel good games. Do they go into this as favourites against a KKR side that also had a very shot in the arm boosting sort of win against the CSK Chepauk?
I think they do, purely because I think there's more quality in the Lucknow lineup than KKR. KKR, in my view, have punched above their weight in this IPL season. I think I think there's some clear holes within their squad, and they've also had a couple of fortunate wins early on, which gave them a little bit of momentum. But yeah, not the most consistent side, but they're not alone in that either. But you know, they're unpredictable because we've seen Rinku Singh, we've seen Nitish Rana play exceptionally well. We know the Chakravarti's bowling, you know, particularly well. Narayan's unpredictable, Russell's unpredictable, so there's enough happening there that you don't want to rest easy.
If you want to pick a team to play on the last day, I'm not sure KKR should be that team. It's a nervous one for Lucknow, isn't it, Amol?
Yeah, but the last win, as you said, would give them a lot of confidence. It came on a tough pitch where Marcus Stoinis just showed us what he can do as a player. A versatile innings that I would say. Fantastic ball striking, and also they do have the batting depth or the players to just take them to the playoffs. You know, I think Lucknow Super Giants are favourites in this, but as you rightly mentioned, you don't want to play KKR, who have been so unpredictable. They've beaten Chennai Super Kings in their home ground, so I think Lucknow Super Giants are still the favourite for myself.
Are we expecting a tough surface at the Eden Gardens?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it should be a good batting pitch. We're playing in the evening.
Tough for the bowlers.
Tough for the bowlers.
But I guess that is where KKR's perhaps unpredictable strength also comes in, that their three-man spin attack, and Narayan had a good game. We were criticizing Narayan or wondering if he's, you know, if he could give up that spot to get Lockie Ferguson or Tim Southee in, but with their three-man spin attack, on a flat surface, is that effectively the point of difference, or potentially the point of difference now that they are bowling first? Tom?
Potentially, but they've also got to get past a couple of very good players. The spinner, Nicholas Pooran, for one, is someone that sort of licks his lips when slow bowling comes on, and particularly at a venue like that where you have a high percentage boundaries hit, he'll welcome the opportunity. But yeah, I suppose that's one of the areas that KKR has a threat, is their slow bowling. Chakravarti has led that with the way he's bowled, because he's been the most consistent. And you quite rightly say Narayan sort of went missing for a number of games, and it was unlike him because he not only wasn't he taking wickets, but he was going at a higher economy than he would normally go. So yeah, look, it's going to be an intriguing one, but we know that Kolkata, chasing down whatever the Super Giants get, they're going to have to get the whips cracking early because they need to win it by a significant margin.
Yeah, do they really entertain that thought? Now, I've got the exact numbers. Super Kings beating Capitals by 77 means that the margin of victory that the Lucknow Super Giants would require to displace Super Kings in the top 2 is 97 runs, assuming they get a score between 160 and 200. So let's assume they get 200, they need to dismiss or restrict KKR to 103 or less. Now, does that effectively take that equation out? You would have sensed, oh, there's a top 2 spot, Tom, but do you sense that now it's just, let's just get into the top 4, it doesn't matter that we've missed out on the top 2?
Yeah, I think that's too big a margin. I think realistically, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself and miss out on the obvious, well, not the obvious, but the first objective, and that is to win the game. If it was something like, something between 20 and 30 runs, that's a different conversation, but this is probably a bridge too far.
That they're batting first, though, does that liberate them in some ways? Sometimes these chases tend to play on your mind if you want to get it within a certain amount. Most times you end up just batting normally and you get a big score batting first. So does this toss result affect LSG in any way?
I think it's a good way in the sense that they're batting first. All they need to do is just focus on how they're going to approach the first, all the 3 phases in the game. First 6 overs are crucial. But also the unpredictability factor of KKR also puts a doubt in the LSG camp that how many runs are enough at the Eden Gardens. That is a question. Well, if you notice today against Delhi Capitals, Chennai Super Kings, they had a canter. In their innings. Everyone played at over 160 or 170 strike rate. So I guess that should be the template for LSG as well.
We spoke about the spinners. Varun Chakravarti's enjoyed a really good season. Let's just run through some numbers for you. And he has led the spin bowling attack against right-hand batters, of which, Lucknow have a nice little mix, but the numbers aren't too bad against the left-handers. His economy is around 8. It's been a good season for Chakravarti. He'd like to end it on a high. Sunil Narayan got 2 for 15 of his 4 overs in the last game at the Chepauk. He's had 8 wicketless outings. He's also had 8 games where his economy has been over 8. But this is a crunch game, you sense, because KKR are not, I don't think they're out of it, but they're highly unlikely. They need some even more odd mathematics to
100 odd, isn't it?
To get them in. So but now that they're chasing, they'll have to get whatever score in some fairly unreasonable number of overs. So we'll leave that for you to figure out on the ESPN Cricket for mobile app and check the permutations of everything that needs to be done. Let's talk about their seamers, though. I guess that's the difference. If KKR have a weak spot, one of their big weak spots rather has been their pace contingent. There are no changes, so you'll have Harshit Rana and Vaibhav Arora alongside Shardul Thakur. And as we just have a look at that team, I think it'll see Surya Sharma in the starting 11. We'll just wait because they're bowling first. So often they've gone for Surya Sharma in their 11 and not Venki Iyer. So we'll just hold on for a bit on that. Let's just look at the seamers numbers, though. That's something that we ought to focus on. They've conceded 50 plus in so many games in the first 5. Shardul Thakur also becomes a big question mark on whether he's bowled to his potential. Can he be used differently? 13 instances that they've conceded over 50 in the power play. I guess this is the biggest area of concern, Amol. They have an all-Indian seam attack when they decided that they don't want to play Lockie Ferguson or Tim Southee, and that hasn't quite been the quality that you want to see in the IPL.
I think the extra pace is missing. When you get an overseas player, an international player, you get that extra bit of zip, and every team has that, but barring KKR, as you rightly mentioned, it's an all-Indian pace attack. Shardul Thakur was missing in few games. I don't know whether he was injured or there was no news on him. After winning a game with the bat, he was...
franchise said he was carrying a niggle, but we don't know the details of it.
So, he missed out on those games, those crucial games for them. And they haven't been using him up front. They've been using him very sparingly.
As we just look at the breakdown of the spin versus pace impact, and it tells you the story you need to know. If KKR's bowlers have kept them in it, it's essentially been their spin bowlers. Now, when that is how lopsided it is, Tom, 44 wickets to spin, 25 to pace, the economies are concerned, 10.7 as well as the average. You have to call your seamers together in a group or a meeting for the bowlers. How exactly would you address it, if at all?
Well, firstly, when I call that seamers meeting, I'd ask Sunil Narayan to come, because I've been saying for weeks that I think he should be taking the new ball. I think that's one of their issues, is their ability to take wickets early on. And I think when they're playing the 3 spinners, it becomes very crowded in those middle overs when you've got 3 spinners to bowl. And I just think the best utilage of Narayan is with that new ball, whether he bowls the first or second over, I don't really care. But I think that he and his experience and his quality will give them their best chance of taking a wicket, because that's what it's all about in the power play. I think people get too caught up thinking, oh, power play overs, new ball, you bowl pace. Well, that's not necessarily right. You know, what you're looking for is people that have the ability, one, to strangle the opposition through, you know, tight bowling, through economy, and secondly, have the ability to be hard to hit through the infield when you have field restrictions. And I think Narayan ticks both those boxes. Yes, he hasn't had his best IPL season, but I would have loved to have seen him 6 games ago start to open the bowling for them when they've clearly got this void that we're talking about with their pace attack, and I think it protects the inexperience of their pace attack.
Would you be looking for that?
Look, KKR, whenever they've done well, Sunil Narayan has been a big part of it. Whether it's batting up the order or bowling, as Tom rightly said, you know, whenever they've you know, gone to the playoffs or gone to win the IPL as well, Narayan top of the order, and probably with the new ball. You can give him that responsibility. He's senior enough. He knows. He's experienced enough to get that role clarity, and then, you know, he can just get it done with, you know, with the new ball. If they're struggling in the first 6 overs, Sunil Narayan could be the answer.
All right, now this is interesting. The team we brought up for you a little while back is actually the accurate one, because we've had a look at the official team sheet, bowling first, and Surya Sharma is not in it. So they've decided that that's all the bowling they need between Chakravarti, Vaibhav Arora, Harshit Rana, Narayan Thakur, maybe Andre Russell on the left hand side and Nitish Rana. That's all the bowling they need, and they're likely then to use a batting impact sub second innings, which could either be Anukul Roy down the order, Jagadishan, which seems unlikely with the form he's shown, but they've left Surya Sharma out of what could be their bowling group. Now, I don't know if this is a clerical error, but we have to take this as the team, because we've seen the official sheet, and that's what they've said. They don't want Surya Sharma in today. Tom?
Yeah, that's really surprising, because he's actually, you know, he's been pretty good for him when he's played. He's been one of the, you know, interesting finds that the IPL can unearth. You know, no one really had seen much of him bowl before, and even in domestic cricket. So it is a real surprise. You know, who knows? It maybe the wrong sheet was handed over. Yeah, because it is quite a complicated process now, isn't it?
It is the bowling first sheet. So this is beyond the wrong sheet. This is someone.
Maybe the manager's just lost his job.
Yeah, we've been saying this in the on the show for quite some time. Really surprised with Surya Sharma not being in the playing 11. So.
Is there a what is the reason that would make you feel like, yeah, we've got enough spin, we don't need Surya Sharma today, for instance?
Well, there might be a threat of wet conditions, wet outfield, therefore wrist spinner might be challenging for a wrist spinner. The risk.
He'll have a lot of left-handers, but I think Surya Sharma has been.
He's got a nice wrong-un. He's got a nice wrong-un, so he can counteract that. Yeah, look, it's very hard to answer. Maybe they feel, you know, with the 2 specialist spinners in Chakravarti and Narayan, that's 8 over, that's enough. And if we need more, we can go to the captain and Nitish Rana. He can bowl, you know, a couple of overs with the ball turning away from the left-handers.
Maybe they're having.
And Russell has declared that, no, I'm good to go. I'm feeling great, and I can bowl 4 overs.
Are we looking at perhaps one of those green tops at KKR? Once in a while they show up.
You never know. You know, sometimes at Eden Gardens you get those pitches, but I feel, you know, they're banking on Sunil Narayan then to bowl those 4 overs, and you know, probably, as Tom said, maybe you might see him up front in the first 6.
Okay, all to discuss and see in case this comes back to bite them. Given the poor record of their seamers, you think they'd bank with as many overs of spin, but no Surya Sharma today. Lucknow's team very quickly as the game gets underway at the Eden Gardens in a few minutes from now, and Deepak Hooda finds himself back out of the team. Just the one game, and Karan Sharma is not only going to play but is going to open. So that's a change up top. Quinton de Kock has already walked out with him. K. Gautam returns as well. So their spin contingent will see a little more off spin. Swapnil Singh was given a game but did not bowl much against Mumbai Indians, just the 1 over. They continue to have Naveen ul Haq as the 4th overseas, which means Kyle Mayers is confined to the bench. Mohsin Khan had an excellent outing last game. He's there. And you think Yash Thakur will come in the second innings to booster their bowling further. Right, 1 game for Hooda, Amol, and Karan Sharma opening in a big game like this. Thoughts on that?
I'm not surprised that Deepak Hooda is on the bench again. and I was a little surprised, and I mentioned this on the show as well on that day, that I was surprised to see him play after a break of one game. So Deepak Hooda clearly hasn't ticked the box, and rightly so, he's benched. But Karan Sharma, it's a big game for Lucknow Super Giants. Forget about the permutation and combination, whether they can, finish second or third. They need to win the game, period.
Yeah, which also confuses me further because their fate is in their hands. They win, they go through. Simple. So you've got some time thinking as a team that, yeah, this is probably our team we'd like to play on in the playoffs. Now, I thought if Hooda came back, it was with that intention. They were going to give an experienced guy the run now in these high pressure games. Now you've changed it up and not put Badoni up there, who's been part of your team, but guy who hasn't played a lot of balls and he's opening now. Makes sense of it?
It doesn't make sense to me personally. I thought that once they bit the bullet and brought Deepak Hooda back into the side, it was right, set and forget now. Look, he's had horrid time up to that point, but we'll back his exposure to international cricket, his experience in IPL cricket, give him a different role at the top of the order. He only had one go at opening. And you'd think also going to Kolkata was the perfect invitation for him to get some confidence, because it is traditionally a good batting surface. So for him to be denied that, just having just the one opportunity coming back after being benched, I think he's a little bit unlucky.
All right. Well, let's get a first innings prediction. We'll carry on the chat for a bit. You've seen a couple of balls from Harshit Rana. Does it give you any insight on whether there's merit in one less spinner and perhaps more pace from Shardul and Russell today?
Whatever I've seen, I think it's a flat pitch.
Big first inning score, you think, for Lucknow?
Pata, as we say at the Eden Gardens.
All right.
So I think it's going to be a big scoring match, this one.
Give me a prediction, Tom.
Well, I can't see the first few deliveries because the angle of my seat doesn't allow me to see.
Well, just turn over.
I don't have the privileges that you two have. But I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I'm sort of losing a bit of touch with my predictions on scores. But
you only missed the first one by like 80.
think 197.
197, right?
197. Okay, I'll go with 185.
Okay, I'm glad you guys have got that because we're going to be on air for a few more minutes. We're going to review the CSK Delhi game now.
Perfect.
And we're going to see how good that prediction is in about 5 minutes from now. So let's look back at Chennai versus Delhi. What an emphatic performance by the Super Kings. They have marched into the playoffs and they are pretty much for all practical purposes in the top two, where they can expect an encounter at the Chepauk against the Gujarat Titans in qualifier 1. Everything pretty much went right, and barring David Warner's innings, Tom, that could have been an even more, embarrassing margin of defeat for Delhi. Again, who didn't look like a team that were in it at all, but where did CSK's bowling perhaps outshine Delhi's, because Delhi's was never in it?
Yeah, I think that one team had a clear focus on in which path they were taking, and the other had a pathway to the airport. That's what it appeared like. David Warner was a solo effort and another good performance from him, showing his resilience and character and fight out there. But it's not like Chennai bowled exceptionally well. They just did their job, and it was a pretty insipid sort of batting performance from the Delhi Capitals.
Great response though, Amol, from Chennai. After that loss to KKR, it was still a slippery game for them. They've outbatted Delhi and they won comfortably. So augurs well for the playoff. Yeah.
Wow, what a performance that was by their batters. They just came out with a lot of intention, a lot of positive approach. I mean, just want to read out the scorecard. The strike rate, it was staggering. 158 for Ruturaj Gaikwad, the amount of balls that he played. 167 for Devin Conway. Shivam Dube, 244.
Yeah.
125 for MS Dhoni.
Yeah, but just a 4-ball innings.
And 285 for Ravindra Jadeja. So it was a clear intentional pathway that they took towards that tall score. 223 was a tough ask for Delhi Capitals to chase, but just the intent that Chennai Super Kings showed on the field, it was something special. No wonder they've been so consistent in this IPL.
You sense this is their template, assuming they get some decent batting conditions in the qualifier, at the Chepauk. As long as their top two can give them a start, they look a seriously dangerous team.
Do you really expect MS Dhoni to say at the toss? Actually, we've got a couple of changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that's happening unless there's an illness or an unexpected injury. But I think they know what template they've got and they stick to it, and that's one of their strengths.
Delhi, I guess there'll be plenty to discuss after this. And we've seen the best of Delhi in some games. They had a little surge in the middle, but in what's now a disappointing season. Can we call David Warner the one shining light? It's a lot of runs, and today's innings was another good one. We remember casting our memories back to the first week of the IPL, but those runs were low impact runs, or not runs of significant meaning. It'll be some sort of enigma or dilemma on how they look to build this team going forward, with Warner actually being one of their most successful players in the season.
Yeah, look, he showed his experience, showed his quality. He had little support at the other end. His overseas and local partners at the top of the order were, poor. And he showed that even though there's a lot of noise happening around him or setbacks around, what was happening with him, he still managed to stay on course. Yes, there was a number of innings that were low impact, as you say. He got runs, but you could also say that there were circumstances that surrounded that low impact. Overall, it'll be an interesting review, Delhi Capitals internally, because there's a lot they haven't got right, and there's a lot of experienced people on and off the field there. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
Yeah. Is the focus more on the lack of Indian batting standing up? Because in some ways, between Mitch Marsh, Russo, Phil Salt, they've all shown serious glimpses of how they can be dangerous. But Prithvi Shaw will be a conversation. Manish Pandey was brought back, got a long run. They've tried a number of other young batters. Yashdul's been in and out of the side. Ripple, Aman Khan, and Rishabh Pant. We don't know what the status on him will be. But will he solve their problems, or perhaps is Prithvi Shaw the bigger question mark going forward?
Look, their performance, if you just analyze it, they were top heavy, in the sense that David Warner, Phil Salt, Riley Russo, Mitchell Marsh, they took the onus on themselves and carried the probably Delhi Capitals team throughout this IPL season. I think there was a stark difference between the overseas players' performances and the domestic players' performances. I think 1,100 runs were scored between the overseas players and 900 between all the domestic batters included. And as you rightly mentioned all the names, they were really disappointing. I feel Sarfaraz Khan, was up and down. Manish Pandey didn't perform to his expectation. Yashdul got a lot of opportunities. Again today there was an opportunity in front of him. And nobody made a mark. And it rarely happens, in a full-fledged IPL season. It rarely happens that so many domestic players fail. Clearly, there is a case for the talent scouts and the team management that's outside to think about.
Can they just say that this was just a bad season? It's not a bad squad. We've been saying that throughout, even when they were losing. It's a good team, dangerous team. They beat Bangalore, they beat Gujarat in Ahmedabad. They have a couple of impressive wins to look back on. And I don't know how much more there is to shop for at the next few auctions, assuming it's another small one. So can they have a different result with almost the same set of players?
Yeah, I think so, because they've got quality there. They've got two very good spinners. We've got to remember Axar Patel's actually had a pretty good tournament. He's had a good all-round tournament. Kuldeep's bowled pretty well, so the spin's covered off. I just think overall the incredible inconsistency of that top order has killed them. Andre Nokia, when he played, he bowled well. He also bowled without luck, I thought, on a few occasions. Ishant Sharma, when he came into the side, bowled well. And
Khalil's been okay.
Khalil, again, to me, looks like he shows glimpses of brilliance, and then he then shows the other end of the scale. And I just wonder whether a lot of that's to do with the lack of volume of cricket that he's playing either side of IPL. At the end of the day, whether you're a batter or a bowler, the only way you improve is by playing regularly and getting that volume in. And I don't think he's getting that volume in, which is going to give him that consistency that he and the franchise need.
I think the first 5 games just set the tone for Delhi Capitals. They had a lot of inconsistency in their playing 11. In the first two games, we saw Sarfaraz Khan keep wickets
Yes.
and bat at number 3 or 4, and then we didn't see him at all. We saw Prithvi Shaw fail for 7 games and rightly benched after that.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of inconsistency in their top 11. If you see the top 2 teams in the points table,
Yeah.
Gujarat Titans and Chennai Super Kings, it's a redundant question, I guess, for Dhoni at the toss. You know, have you got any changes? He clearly says no. There are no changes. So he's sure about what he's got and what 11 he's going to play.
All right, well, it's going to be quite the review for the Capitals, who are, of course, a proud franchise, and not too long ago were right up there. They were a strong squad that was second only to the Mumbai Indians in 2020, and 2 or 3 seasons later, it's just gone horribly wrong for them. So I guess there'll be more conversation around the Capitals in the aftermath of this season. Keep an eye on that high-profile coaching staff as well to see if there is some sort of review or repercussion as a result of what's been a bad season for them. Right, I've given them 5 minutes to see how the prediction looks. They were going steady for Lucknow. They just got a 7, I think, in their first 2, and then Quinton de Kock had a massive 6. So are we sticking to our predictions, which were 197 for you?
No, 185.
185, and was it 197 for you? Yeah, happy
Correct.
with that?
Yeah, I'm delighted.
Delighted.
I was delighted with 147
Yeah.
last.
Well, I got
last
that right.
Well, he's got
Yeah.
one
One
right.
off. It was in the second innings.
Can't
in
get
the
everything
second-
right,
No,
otherwise he'd be under
in the
investigation.
second innings, they got 146.
That was one off.
Delhi Capitals.
Ah, right. He was
That-
talking about the second innings.
That was the pass score in the second innings.
Ah, sorry. Let me be clear now. This score you're saying is for the first
So this
innings?
is the first innings.
Thank you
this
very
one.
much. Yeah, excellent. Amol, Tom, more from you as we carry on our coverage on this supremely important Saturday in the race for the playoffs. Lucknow have it in their hands. They win. They go through as well. They're wearing the maroon in support to the Mohan Bagan team as they are in Kolkata today. Let's see if it works for them or not. As it turns out, the Karan Sharma experiment hasn't worked, but it's a long 20 overs. Let's see where the innings stands at the end on Visit Saudi presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Time.